scoured Europe and the world for that matter to try and find juniors of comparable standard to these British riders, and we've been unable to do it. It just seems that the standard here for junior riders is so much better than that we've seen anywhere else.
Yes, I did look quite a bit there for riders in the States too, and it's really true that the standard here is just really amazing.
Oh, now this is actually his second penalty. He picked up one a little earlier there, but he's dug his front wheel right in there. Very unfortunate for him. Whoops! And he didn't, he forgot to turn the throttle off, I think, Jack.
Yes, well that really is a tricky spot. I mean, everyone's been going right through it, but it's so easy to get that front wheel jammed inside that log.
And Anthony Tempest completed his round with a total of 4 faults, giving him a complete time of 3 minutes 41 seconds. That actually gives him 5th place, because in 6th place is Tony Buckley, who had that disaster on the over and under. We had 20 seconds to Anthony Tempest's time to get Buckley's, which gives him 4 minutes 01. So here's a full list and positions for that first leg. In the lead, Stephen Colley from Onken, the Isle of Man, 1:33.1. In second place, Carl Waitman, 1:59.7. In third place, Carl Gillander, 2 minutes 12.2. Fourth place, Luke Wood, 2 minutes 16.5. Fifth place, Anthony Tempest, 3:41. And in sixth place, Tony Buckley, 4:01. And in fact, Tony Buckley retired from the competition there, didn't go in the second leg. So we start with the next slowest man, Anthony Tempest, on the line. Course now in the reverse direction, the young lad from Richmond in North Yorkshire, Anthony Tempest. So 4 penalties on that first round. Didn't have too happy a trip around there, but you can certainly ride. We've seen him before here. And,
Yeah, actually, that was done real well because these banks are a lot slipperier now. And he went right over that bunny hop, which is at the top of that.
well, the rain has stopped, but it's certainly not dry out there as he slid off that stop box and picks up a 20-second penalty. One penalty against him so far.
If anything, sorry, Peter, but if anything, the conditions start to get worse at this point because things start to dry, and that makes the mud just a little bit thicker.
Managing to hang on to the balance there. Now the double logs. And he picked up a penalty on these first time round, and he's done it again. But they're very tricky. Those rocks inside there just throw you off balance, don't they, Jack? I saw you putting them in there quite deliberately.
Right, well, you have to be right at the right place. And if you get off of that, they'll put you off your bike.
He only has 40 seconds to add to this time. His total time, that is, up in the top corner. Time for the 2 legs with the penalties for this second leg still to add. And he's picking up a penalty there, his foot down as he walks up the waterfall. And he picked up another one as well, 4 in total. His total ending time, 7:10.6. That's what the others have got to shoot at. 12-year-old Luke Wood, who was in 4th place then after the first leg, but only 1 penalty separated him and the second place man. So a terrific ride from him, the least experienced of the riders in this heat. From Westonmere School, and really doing pretty well. Comes from Breaston in Derbyshire.
This bank now is, of course, quite greasy. You see the bunny hop? Right over. Very nice.
Well, he only had 1 penalty on the first leg, just wasn't so fast over the ground as some of the others. That was on the over and under, and I should think he'll make the same mistake again. And that was very neat. He held that when he was obviously sliding around a bit. Under the bar first. His confidence falling off first time round. No, terrific. Well done. He's clean here. This is a good time.
One thing, you know, when I give schools I watch for is the way that people hold their feet.
Picks up a penalty there, missing his exit gate.
And if you watch how much he's bringing his toes down and his heels back, it changes the whole position of the body on the bike. And it's surprising on how much that really counts for him.
In fact, I'm told he didn't miss his exit gate there, so he's clean so far. Can't make that, though. He's definitely got a penalty on the waterfall. 1 penalty is being indicated to me by the marshal, so that's precisely what he's got. Just 20 seconds to add, so it's a terrific ride from him. And I think it's because of the angle he came out over those logs. It looked as though he was missing the exit gate from our camera position, but he's cleaned it. And now can he clean this one to go in with just 20 seconds of penalties? If he can, he'll be a very proud lad indeed. And he's clean. Just one penalty to that. That is superb. That makes 4:29.3 for Luke Wood. Carl Gillander, 14 years old, from Blaydon, Tyne and Wear, there in the lovely northeast. He's probably used to weather like this. The rain has stopped. The ground still greasy, and he gets a 20-second penalty on the long jump. He'll be annoyed about that because he cleaned it first time through.
Through here, once again, it's quite slippery, and just
a foot down.
But you need to just keep a nice straight lines and keep yourself straight up and down.
Now the winner of Heat 1 really was quite a big lad. These youngsters really look quite small, same age, but very much smaller versions. Oh, and he's gone, and right into the water there. How is he? Well, he's determined to get himself up again. The bike's steaming away there.
Well, the big thing here is making sure water did not get down into the airbox.
So let's take a look at that again.
Well, he's in good shape here, but right, you can see he slows down almost to nothing. And then there's no stability, and he gives it too much gas, and once again the tire slips, and he can't get that front end up, and he also has no speed.
I must say he was very lucky not to hurt himself there. He came right down on top of the bike, but he seems okay, and eventually had to retire because the bike just wouldn't start, waterlogged again. So Carl Waitman goes next in second place at the end of the first leg, and everything to go for. And he I must say, impressed me a lot on the first leg there. No penalties. The time he's got to beat up there in the left-hand corner will put him into the lead for this heat.
He took that jump in a very large gear. He downshifted right there. And that's good if you want to make time, but it's easy to make mistakes because the bike will stall if you go too slow in it. He's also using that finger on the clutch, but you see the left hand. He has that little finger wrapped around that lever.
He's riding with a lot of care and precision on this, faultless so far, and a lot of time in hand. But this is the one that's caused the problems. Of course, underneath this bar, the water there has softened the fall of two competitors in this heat. It didn't have to operate for Carl Waitman. Oh, a foot down, unfortunate.
A shame, he got his front wheel caught in one of the rocks there.
Goes to Mortimer Wilson School in Ayton in Derbyshire. And he's certainly waving the flag for the school today.
I think one of the problems they're having with this is they're trying to use second gear rather than first, and they get halfway up and the motor's having a hard time pulling it.
All leaning off to the left, just as Jack Stites did a few years ago, I seem to remember.
Yes, well, Peter, we don't need to talk too much about that.
So 40 seconds to add to this, and it's not going to put him in the lead. For 29.3, the 12-year-old Luke Wood, that's his time, and Carl Waitman isn't going to be ahead of that. 40 seconds to add, makes 4:47.4. He's in second place at the moment. Luke Wood leads. Stephen Wellesley Colley from Onken, the Isle of Man, attends Ballacameen High School. The leader on the first leg, a faultless round in 1:33.1. 4:29.3 is the time he's got to beat to win the heat, but all he has to do to get into the final is to beat the time of the second man, Carl Waitman, 4:47.4. Well, it could be an easy task, or he could make it difficult for himself, but he's a great rider.
But he looks real cool so far. I mean, that was one of the things I had trouble with. I mean, he has so much energy, that he would translate that into body movements and to slow his body down so he just stays over the center of the bike and just keeps himself in balance at all times.
He
Very
really
nice.
doesn't need to hurry because he has plenty of time in hand, 2 minutes in hand still. No penalties against him yet, but there's the first one. Now, how long is it going to take him to get out of that?
Now just needs to keep his cool through here. He's got plenty of time.
So easy to make the mistake that really can put you right out of contention.
Right. This is the spot I've been waiting to see, because this was really part of the schooling. And to keep yourself centered right here, right there, nice and centered.
Oh, and a foot down, didn't quite make it, so he's got 40 seconds against him. I still think that's plenty. But it'd be interesting if he didn't win the heat now. 40 seconds to add. Oh, he's going to do it, and comfortably. That's excellent. And in through the finish there, 3:19.5 makes 3:59.5. Stephen Colley wins heat 2. So Stephen Colley then in first place, 3 minutes 59.5. In second place, the 12-year-old Luke Wood goes through to the final as well, 4 minutes 29.3. Just missing out Carl Waitman in third place, 4:47.4. In fourth place, Anthony Tempest, 7 minutes 10.6, with Carl Gillander and Tony Buckley both retired. So once again, it's the over and under obstacle that proves to be the great leveler. The plank, a bare 6 inches wide, 8 feet above the water in the bottom of the pit, has to be approached just right. For 2 unlucky riders, it was absolutely the last straw. Luckily, of course, the water in the bottom there does tend to break the fall, but it doesn't stop you seriously denting your pride. So what are the riders in heat 3 going to make of it? If you're not watching, you'll never know. See you tomorrow. Goodbye. Number 13 is Tony Scarlett of England. Number 14, Philip Reeve from Jersey. Number 15, Ian Rawlins of England. Number 16, Ryan Young from the United States of America. Number 17, Olivier Clamagiron from Belgium. And number 18, another Lejeune, Jean-Marie Lejeune, the eldest brother from Belgium. And this is Tony Scarlett, 18 years old, hard to believe that's all he is. Seems to have been around forever, top of the profession too. Terrific rider, and he sets off getting heat 3 underway. Comes from Sheffield, riding a Yamaha. As usual, 20-second penalties for every fault in a section, failing to complete a section properly. And the clock runs, you'll see the time there on the right hand side. He's just completed the long jump, and with me in the commentary box as usual I've got Jack Stites from the United States, holder of a few national titles himself, but sitting it out in the commentary box today.
Notice Tony's riding very smoothly, and it's really nice to see. We've seen some performances of him that we've been back and forth, but look how smooth he is. Very
That's
nice.
very neat. For those that haven't seen this section before, you have the choice. He went over on the log, so he comes back across the ladder. Heat 3, trying to join 2 Belgians and 2 Englishmen in the final. The fastest 2 on 2 runs of this course will go through to the final. Scarlett aims to be one of them. He's clear so far. In fact, this is a brilliant ride. Very quick over the ground. A log box now, all these logs move, as you see. He rides that beautifully. Now that big, awkward, we call them the cotton reels, but the barrels up there on the back of that loader. All these obstacles have to be cleaned feet up, very difficult. It's a splendid angle, and you can see just what he's got to do. And now a very difficult maneuver, Jack.
Right, now he's got several choices, but what he's going to do is going to back straight up, and he's going to miss the small little reel that's on the course next to the big one. And he's just going to hit the big reel, and if he can get back far enough, he can get a nice angle to it. if he can get back far enough.
This is a fantastic ride. He's absolutely clean, and he's cleaned that one too. Well, this is brilliant. And that's the time that the others have got to chase, 2:23.9. Brilliant. A newcomer to kickstart here, second to go. He comes from Jersey, the Channel Islands. Philip Reed, 22 years old, farmer. Very nervous of all this, and taking risks there, Jack.
Yeah, you can see anytime the rear tire doesn't want to land on it, the front wheel isn't going out far enough.
And he's clean so far. Oh, and he is definitely going to be excluded for that. The rule is that you must pass through an exit gate after you've failed in the middle of a section. He's missed one out there. That will be exclusion. Well, you haven't seen this young man on kickstart before. Ian Rawlins, who's 22, comes from Sheffield, but he has helped out on kickstart before because he proved the course last year. He was the trial rider when the course was set up, so he can certainly ride a bit. And let's see how he said he was looking forward to it when I spoke to him just before this.
Right, he has gone to several of the world rounds. Actually, he's ridden the world round in the United States 2 years, and he usually does quite well.
The Yamaha 250. There's plenty of confidence. Now then, is this going to catch him out? Yes, it is. If they don't hit that slightly to the right-hand side, it bends this way and throws them off the bike. Throws them off the obstacle. Long jump coming up. Oh, and he didn't make it. Didn't give it enough there.
Yes, that really is a bit of a silly mistake because they have plenty of time to get speed there. I mean, it's just the bang that they're scared of.
So down he comes through the trees. 2 penalties against him so far. A very good time of Tony Scarlett. 2:23.9. No one so far coming near it. And Ian falling off the log there.
He played it quite smart though. He knew he was falling off and looked where he had to go. It was a very, very good move. The turn was nice. The front end here, you have to remember to keep it very high, and if it doesn't, it'll stick right in the bank. See how he kept it high?
Yeah, it didn't stick in the bank, but he did get his foot down, and he also picked up 2 more penalties before the end of the round, in total 4 minutes 30.8. That's almost 2 minutes behind Tony Scarlett. And there's quite a young fan club join this young man here. His name's Young too. Ryan Young from the United States of America. Comes from Williamsport in Pennsylvania. The bike, the only one of its kind in this competition. It's a Beta 240. You don't call it one of those, though, do you, Jack?
Yes, we call it a Beta. It's quite a progressive company, actually, from Italy.
And he's, to say he's quietly confident wouldn't be an understatement, actually. He's very confident that he can do some good in this competition. Well, we haven't seen him here before, but he held that well.
Well, he does have the skill, and if he can just, keep the cool. I've actually seen him ride for several years, and the first few years I saw him, he was just awfully wild, and this was the first year he's actually slowed down enough to do well.
Where he's motoring now, this could be very rash, but it isn't yet.
Yeah, well, like I say, he was really wild to begin with. Just hopefully his bike isn't stuck. No, he's still in good shape. He's in a really large gear here. He needs to get it down and get back his thinking.
So far, though, just that 1 penalty, but now 2.
But now's where you can really tell if he has it or not, because he's had some mistakes. He can feel his mistakes. And so it's just keeping that cool.
Well, that's neat. We know how difficult that can be. He held that well. So now making sure his hands are dry. 2 penalties against him, just 40 to add at this point. And making a lot of smoke there. Is this a problem, Jack?
You know what it is? I think it's almost a brand new bike, and I think they just mix the oil a little rich. And so Well, I've seen him ride this year, and he takes a lot of time in this type of sections, and he's quite good at it. He spends a lot of time on bicycles.
Or BMX.
Exactly.
Oh, and a foot
And that's a
down, so
shame.
he's got another one. That's a minute to count against him, but his time is really pretty good. So he's going to be in less than 3.5 minutes overall, I should think. 1 minute to add makes 3:25.5. That's not bad, he's in second place. This is the 19-year-old Belgian, Olivier Clamagiron. Comes from Braine-l'Alleud in Belgium. Started there again, Nick Britton, who's the promoter of the event. Olivier on a Yamaha 250. Time in the left top hand, the top left-hand corner is that of Tony Scarlett. We're looking for the two fastest riders over the whole course to go through to the final. But that's on 2 runs. After they've completed this one, they have to go in the opposite direction. And he just made it, held that together.
Oh, it's a wonderful save there.
And he doesn't quite make the long jump. 27 feet, that long jump. Down into the murky forest there. Just a route that they have to follow there. Just one penalty so far. And now across the log and not across it. In.
And once again, the tires are wet at this point. But that was done very
Doesn't
nicely.
seem to bother him too much.
No. But you notice the ones that aren't kicking the rear, like Eddie Lejeune was kicking the rear around, I mean, they're actually in more control.
Whoa! And that seemed to knock the confidence right out of him. He picked up 2 more penalties and eventually was even excluded because he missed an exit gate on the very last obstacle. And this is the eldest brother of the Lejeune motorcycling clan, Jean-Marie Lejeune, 37 years old, from Hervé in Belgium, on a Honda 245. I don't think even he would be offended if I said he was possibly the least good, of the 3 Lejeunes, Jack.
Well, I mean, I'd hate to say that. He's been around for so long. I was reading a program from like a 1974 World Round, and he was in it as one of the top. And so, I mean, that's quite a while.
Well, he wouldn't be here in Kickstart if he couldn't ride, but I said the three brothers, Eddie, then Eric, I think Jean-Marie would be hard pushed to match them. Now he's on the compulsory route. He's got 2 penalties against him. The time to beat really for him is not Tony Scarlett's time, which is up there in the top left-hand corner, but the time of Ryan Young. If you'd like to remember it, 3:25.5 is the time that Jean-Marie needs to beat to qualify for the final.
He had a foot down in there.
Your eyes are sharp enough. I didn't spot that, but definitely, yes.
He did that very quickly across the log. It's one of the nicest I've seen.
So he's got 1 minute to add to this, so
Very nice.
he still has a chance. 4 obstacles to go. And another round. Everyone has to go in the opposite direction, and fails there on Zebedee. 4 penalties, 1 minute 20 to add to this time. So he's outside Tony Scarlett's time, and unless he does very well, he could well be outside the time of Ryan Young. But of course, they've all got to go on the course in the opposite direction. And a foot down there, so no, he won't be going into the next round in second place, probably in third.
So he has to make an attempt at going over the center reel, so of course it's back up again, up on the trailer.
The reason for this is that there's actually a gate described at the top there. You have to get through that. Now he can abandon it. He's got 1 minute 40 to add to that, so his time's going to be over 4 minutes. And he's through in the end there, 4:03.5, which does actually put him in third place. So at the halfway point here in Heat 3, Tony Scarlett of England leads with 2 minutes 23.9, a terrific round and the only clear round we've had in the whole of the competition in any of the heats. In second place, Ryan Young of the United States of America, 3:25.5. Third place, Jean-Marie Lejeune from Belgium, 4:03.5. Fourth place, Ian Rawlins of England, 4 minutes 30.8, and 2 exclusions. Very unfortunate there. Philip Reeve from Jersey and Olivier Clamageron of Belgium. So at last we get a clear round. We had to wait till Heat 3 for it, but Tony Scarlett quite brilliant there. But still we're only halfway through this heat because now we reverse the course. They have to tackle it in the opposite direction. Remember though, 2 exclusions, only 4 riders go. The first one's on the start. Ian Rawlins then, who had 6 penalties against him on his first attempt at the course. See if he can go any better on the reverse direction. The lad's from Sheffield, 22 years old, and as I said before, in the past has been a course tester for us here on Kickstart. I'm sure a lot of people think we just put these obstacles together and never test them, but actually we do see if they're possible first, well occasionally, if Jack's feeling nice.
You can see his problem there. He's trying to get his rear wheel, of course, lined up, and there it is. He keeps that front wheel hopping around just to make sure he can keep balanced. Beautiful.
Right, he's cleaned that. He failed it in the other direction, so he'll be pleased with that. It gives him confidence for the round.
He's taking a different line here. Most everyone else is coming in from the corner.
Ooh.
And that's why they weren't taking that line.
Yes, you set those logs as well, didn't you, Jay? Precisely where they move. So he's got 20 seconds against him, and there's another one as he falls off the sprung plank.
It's surprising how much braking they have to use right here, because they'll do a full acceleration right there, and then it's full clutch and almost brakes just for just an instant, just to get the front end back on the ground.
And we should say actually that bank is exceptionally steep. Right, which way is he going? He's taking the log across. And that really was just the start of more troubles for Ian Rawlins. He clocked up a bit of a cricket score, poor lad, 9 minutes 27.9. So Jean-Marie Lejeune at 37, the oldest of the Lejeune clan, attempts to join his brothers in the final. Quite a tall order for him. Well, if he does get thrown, he'll have to rename the championship, the Norwich Union Lejeune Kickstart Championship of '86. And he looks like he's wearing Eddie's trousers. That's cheeky. He's being a bit of a clone, I think. He's also wearing his brother's number. In fact, there's not a lot of Jean-Marie Lejeune that's original there, as he heads off with a 20-second penalty on the very first obstacle. He's got a lot to do if he wants to qualify, though, Jack.
Yeah, there is quite a bit of course left, but I mean, as we know, I mean, most of these things can stop you very easily. But you can see the line he had there was taking it at an angle. It just gives more room for that front end to land and then also climb up the other side.
Oh no. So he crashes off Zebedee. And he's failed on both the obstacles he failed on the first round. The time in the left-hand corner, that is the leading time at the moment, which is that of Ian Rawlins. It won't stay in the lead, I'm certain of that. Jean-Marie's time, minus his penalties for this round, on the right top.
Right, he just dropped down into second gear probably for this.
Ooh, whoops, and penalty there.
Slam on the brakes the minute they get to England. Ben Ando, 5 News.
Now, let's take a look at some more of the stories in the news tonight. The Breitling Orbiter round-the-world balloon attempt has hit a snag.
Where he rode, I'd be surprised if he doesn't stay there. In fact, having completed this round, he should be in the lead. There's one rider to go after him, Steve Saunders.
Boy, see that it was right on cue, nice and straight. But as I said before, he does a lot of work with bicycles, and you can see where that would really come into effect there.
He's quite a slight young man, isn't he? But he seems to have a lot of strength when he's healing the bike around. Whoops, that's an interesting way to ride it.
So once again, if he can get himself back again. But he took that same line right in the center of that box, where everyone wanted to do corner to corner.
Whoops. A bit of confidence going perhaps here. Early on, he didn't make a mistake on that in the first round, so won't be happy with that. Doesn't have a